Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to end the videos. Another paid request, this time from my friend Mike, OCB Communications. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. PayPal is usually the best bet. Idea to be a topic, a review, a commentary, a video game playthrough, a re-review, what have you. And this is for someone called Churchill, The Hollywood Years, from 2004. Directed by a guy that he was part of the comic strip, which at first I thought was an actual comic strip, but no, this is actually a series of films with his group of actors. He also did TV work. Although I guess they found some success because they kept working, but from what I read, their movies didn't do well. I just see why after watching this one. Maybe I'm just not into UK humor. But it's one of those movies where I get the idea behind it. They looked at Hollywood films like U-571 and Pearl Harbor and they said, well, they're making these historical movies, but they make the Americans more important than they actually were. For example, U-571, submarine movie with Matthew McConaughey, Bill Paxton. For one understand in reality, the British found this enigma machine that could unlock what the Germans are saying to others and decode them. But in that movie, it's the Americans that find it. In Pearl Harbor, there's a bit where you have the Battle of Britain, or Battle for Britain, and the movie made it seem like the Americans did more than apparently they did in reality. So the UK wanted to take a little bit of poking fun at that. So they go, well, with that mentality, what if they did a Winston Churchill movie, but Winston Churchill was in fact an American GI played by Christian Slater? Number one, it's not that funny of a movie, in my opinion. There's a reason why it gets a 4.9 on IMDb. Number two, maybe I'm just not into the UK droll humor, but this feels like a movie that wants to be like Hot Shots, National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1, Airplane. If it was doing that, it doesn't throw jokes like those movies did. I think that's a mistake if that's the case. They should have tried to do that. Maybe they would have gotten more jokes to land. And then I'm saying, going, if I want to see a World War II comedy, I'll go watch Top Secret with Val Kilmer. Now, I had issues with that film, but I did enjoy that movie, and I would watch that any day over this one. I might just go watch Top Secret with Val Kilmer. Because, yeah, Christian Slater plays an American GI called Winston Churchill. People go, what about the actual Winston Churchill? Well, that was an actor that was hired. So the American GI, Christian Slater as Winston, has his token black sidekick, which they purposely make that a thing, being very obvious with it. That's the thing, there's no sense of wit about the movie. It's not clever, it's not witty. Pretty much he comes in, he brings in the Enigma machine, gives it to the people in the UK. We could do this to help try to fight the Nazis. Yeah, I want a piece of Hitler's ass. Of course, the people in the UK, the upper echelon, they don't listen to him. One of them is working with Hitler. So he meets Hitler when his plane lands, and Hitler has this pilot shot because he's shooting too much. And this is the kind of humor you have. They damn their car, the car won't start, and there's a fucking fart. That happens. Or the guy goes out, I'm going to push it, explains to Hitler all these instructions, so when they push the car, Hitler does nothing, so their car goes and just hits a house. Neve Campbell's in the film as Princess Elizabeth, and she's awkward, like she does this dancing, where it's like she's jumping rope, but there's no rope, or she's doing this very over-exaggerated accent. Just doesn't work for me. Very big accent. I thought Neve was just. I like Neve Campbell from the Stream films, The Craft. I think she was trying too hard to be funny. And just the whole look of the film just had this cheap quality to it. I don't know what it is. And there's not a lot of dads that I've found that funny. Its attempts are one found a book of Mein Kampf, and the guy misreads it as me in Camp F, and then he goes, "What is this, a gay porn?" Like, that's the joke. The token black guy's pretty much explaining, like, why is he the token black guy, and then there's actual rap scene. And part of the lyrics is like, boom in your ass or something, or boom to your butt. Like, take a boom to you. And like, let me hear you say Hitler has one nut. Hitler has one nut. Let me hear you all say Hitler has one nut. Hitler has one nut. This really cringe rap scene. And the joke, of course, the joke is that, yeah, this Hollywood would put, I'm like, well, number one, actually, they wouldn't put a just rap scene. Hollywood does a lot of stupid things, even they wouldn't do that. So it doesn't come off as clever, it doesn't come off as witty, and it's just irritating and unfunny and cringeworthy. And it just feels like not a whole lot happened. Hitler's trying to get into the British upper echelon, and if he marries someone like the princess, Neve Campbell, he'll have more power. Christian Slater try to be the American GI with a little bit of accent. I like Christian Slater. He couldn't do much to save this movie. At one point, him and his buddy get caught. Then they escape. Then Slater gets wounded. The buddy's like, "I'll get help." Goes on a plane, leaves. Would have been funnier if it was, "I'm tired of these cliches." Does 2 steps, and then there's like a modern plane that he gets in and leaves the movie. Like, it breaking the fourth wall. "I'm tired of this shit. Okay, I'm tired of playing these characters. This bullshit doesn't make sense." Then 2 steps, "Call my agent." Gets like he tears his clothes off, and it's a suit, like a Men in Black, that tuxedo suit, and then gets a phone. "Call my agent." Like, that would kind of be funny, that type of gag. Or if the entire movie was a mockumentary, like This Is Spinal Tap. If it was a film crew about a movie being made, and these British actors are advisors about Winston Churchill's life, but then they hire an American director, then they hire Christian Slater, they go, "What's that casting?" Well, we're thinking of, and name some sophisticated British actors. Well, for marketing, we're going to get Christian Slater. And like, do it in a much more wittier, clever way. They could even make fun of Neve Campbell's accent. Is that too much? Is that too little? Is it too far? Why would just cast a British lady? Like, really harp on the studio system of Hollywood. I think that would have been more clever. It would have been more funny, to repeat myself, and would have been much more worth a shit than what they did. Instead, it's Hitler having to regurgitate, I have both balls. I have both nuts." This romance between Slater and Neve Campbell, which, I don't know, it didn't work for me. Not because I think the writing hurt their performances. Again, Nev's accent, and they're really never given that much witty things to say to each other. Like I said, it has a cheap element to it with the sets that they used. A lot of the actors I didn't recognize. If you watch the trailer, the narrator, the voiceover is this person and this person and this person. I'm like, who the fuck are they? Who the fuck is that? I don't know. I just part of the director's comedy troupe, I guess. Which, if that's the case, no wonder. Never heard of them before. I just being dry and droll equally means funny. I'm like, it can in the right hands. To me, not for this. I mean, there's a guy who gets our two characters on the train. He comes out with like this gold plated machine gun. He seemed more badass than Christian Slater, honestly. And it ends with him saying, I wish I was American, while those two leave the train. Of course, they get caught again. Neve Campbell's going to be married. Oh, she says the line, "You're a stinker, and I don't marry stinkers." What are you, Bugs Bunny? Ain't I a stinker? What are you, fucking Bugs Bunny? Neve Campbell, what are you doing? You're a stinker, and I don't like stinkers. I'm like, whatever. I'm sitting there going, where is the laughs from this? What it feels like is an overextended comedy skit. A skit in the UK, whatever the equivalent of Saturday Night Live would be in the UK, I don't know, so feel free to educate me. An overextended skit. Or like a trailer that maybe could be funny, but doesn't work for a full-length picture. And then they try to have this other story where it takes place in more current time, where a guy's like remembering or is talking with someone and at the end he's like, I don't know who my mother was. Why this person was your mother. Princess Elizabeth was your mother. And then they hug each other. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about you two. I don't give a fuck about your characters. Slater's story ends with there's a stock footage of a bomb dropping and he goes in slow-mo to save Neve Campbell. But there's no budget for action scenes, explosions, anything of the sort. That's what I mean by it looks cheap. Hitler gets away with his buddy on a raft. And I don't remember much else of the movie because I watched this 2 days ago. I already forgot it. For good reason. And good reason why it's just a 4.9 out of 10. And it wants to be hot. I can't even say it wants to be hot shots because, again, those movies actually threw a bunch of humor. They may not all stick, but they're trying to throw all this stuff in. It doesn't do that. Again, it probably maybe would have worked better if they tried to be that kind of comedy. It doesn't. So, yeah. Just wasn't for me. Just not for me. I'm sorry there's not more detail, Mike. I'm sorry. Because I don't remember much of the fucking film for your reason. But, yeah. Actually, you know what? I probably wrote notes over here. What all did I say in this? Because sometimes I do that so that my mind doesn't wander while watching it. Winston Churchill was his actor named Roy Bubbles, but Winston's really an American GI. Oh, the King of England has a joke where he's eating Sweetie Wheats cereal, and he's looking for the toy. Oh, it's another submarine. Why can't I get something else? Neve trying too hard, accent. She goes undercover outside, meets Christian Slater. She's dancing. Like, she's jumping rope, but she's not. She embarrasses herself. She runs out. People chase after her. Oh, there's another running gag where people keep mistaking Hitler for Charlie Chaplin. That's a running gag. And yeah, there's a bit that was more confusing, but it was meant to be funny. Like, the driver keeps talking the other associates and Hitler. They think he's Charlie Chaplin. Then in the middle of talking, it just cuts to a car on fire. Now, it took me a full minute to realize, oh, I guess they killed the driver and burned the car up. Like, if it cut to the burning car and then Hitler and them are watching it, Chaplin. Or like, that damn Chaplin. Something like that. Like, that would make it less confusing. Because I would see the burner car, but I would see, oh, okay, it's who's the one person who's not there. But it's like, boom, we cut to a burning car. I'm like, did the whole car blow up? Are they all dead? Like, I shouldn't be like confused for a good 30 seconds. The rap scene. Okay, the lyrics, boom in your behind. Let me hear you say Hitler's got one nut. Slater and Buddy chased by bad guys. You're the stinker in charge. I would never marry a stinker. The train guy. Oh, Hitler didn't want this film being seen, this one film, and he did shown as Hitler in a tutu. Overstated it, and it looks cheap. Yeah. So again, it's directed like a skit would. There's nothing in terms of... It's not overly long film, but it felt long. There's another bit where a guy's trying to help Slater and Neve to safety. He's by train tracks. He gets shot. Then he's like moving slowly. He just shot it. It goes on for so long. He's like trying to skedaddle to the train track, so he falls on the train track. And I'm like, okay, I get the joke, but not laughing. That's kind of what it felt like for a lot of the movie. So, take that for what you will. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. This film's just not for me. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.